that weekend where team drops the first game and then comes back and has two really gutsy just wins. Will you just talk about, I know you said going into the weekend you were more concerned with getting back to Razorback softball than really results. We just talk about maybe if the team did that.
Oh yeah, I felt like the team did exactly that. We went in just wanting to compete in every pitch, focus on every pitch, and just kind of more play better softball, compete better. And I thought we did that across the board. I felt like we did that in the first game, and it didn't go our way. And I felt like they just continued to push forward. They continued to fight, and it's a tough place to win. It's a really tough place to win a series. And so I was just really, really proud of the guts they showed.
And when you just talked a little bit about, I know Shanice, she throws her career high pitches and innings, and she gets the final strikeout and just kind of like, it seemed almost like nonchalant, just walked off the field. Just talk about her, like, kind of that steady, calm demeanor that she always has, even in
Oh,
high
well,
pressure situations.
I don't know if it was nonchalant as much as it was exhaustion. But she is, there's a lot to be said for a pitcher that's really, really consistent in their approach, but consistent in who they are through the highs and lows. And it just creates a consistency around them. And that's who Shanice is. That's who she's always been. And so I think when you listen to the commentary, when you watch, when there's bases loaded, no outs, and the game on the line, and she's just like Shanice, you look at her face and she's just Shanice. Her composure means a ton to this team. Her poise, her composure, the confidence that she has, it's really huge. But that's Shanice on a good day. That's Shanice on a bad day. And that consistency is one of the most undervalued thing that you can say about a pitcher.
And then last thing I'll ask is in that the Sunday win where Reagan throws several just really clutch throws to Lauren at home plate to get in two straight innings. Just will you talk about maybe just what it's like to see your young players like come up with big moments like that?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, just those big moments are huge. They're game changers. They change momentum, they change strategy. They make him like have to rethink every time he wants to roll a runner. You have to think about the throws to the plate and that the arms on our outfield. There was also Reagan Johnson hitting a cut in the second game that allowed us to get the back runner going to second, which was a game-changing play also. So I thought our outies were exceptional all weekend, with running down balls, with plays at the fence, with their throws, all of it. And I just think that's because they're prepared more than anything. It's not a young or an experienced or anything. They're prepared and they're confident in that moment. And those were really, really huge moments for us.
Dudley?
Writers like me like to wax eloquent after big wins like that, saying it's a big win that would go push them on to more. Is there something to that? I'm sure the ride back home was a lot better, but is there something to that it can give you a push, or is it the next day's pitching?
Oh, you mean on Sunday, going from Sunday to Monday?
Well, from Monday's win,
And moving forward.
Yeah.
Well, the ride home's always better after a win. So I will say that. But in all honesty, that Monday night game, I would have been pleased with their effort, whether we won or lost. That's one of those games where it's just terrible to be on the losing side. The fact that they could stay the course and grind and find a way to win, obviously was huge. I mean, Shanice was a huge part of that, but our defense played outstanding behind her, and our offense put a ton of pressure on them. And made Montana throw a lot of pitches. And I thought they were seeing the ball. I thought they stayed the course. For Rue to hit that home run, it's just, I mean, that's offense, right? You're just trying to stay through like a bat at bat and not lose enthusiasm. And I felt like our offense did a really great job of that. So I think I would have been pleased if we dropped that game with just our approach, our effort. It's a tough place I said that, a tough place to win. It's a tough game to win as the visitors. I will say that as well, just because every time you don't score, you know you have to hold them twice. And so just to put that overall effort together was really, really huge. But I think we would have built off of it whether we won it or not.
Also, what was that conversation like on the mound in the 10th inning, knowing that she had thrown a lot of pitches, but it was just still right there?
I think for Shanice, she just needed that moment more than anything. She was tired. Her arm was a little tired. No one practices 172 pitches. It's almost like a marathon mentality where it's like you're training. If you can throw 20, you can, if you can run 20, you can run 26, but it's in that moment, I think we needed to talk through that, that I have all the confidence in the world in her. She has all the confidence in the world in our staff. And I think she just needed to talk through like, hey, I don't have my best stuff. Where do you feel like we're at right now? And I have all the confidence in the world with her, best stuff or not. So I think in that she just was like, no, I know I can do this. And we know she can. She's done it time and time again. She did it the night before. So she's gutsy.
One last thing for me. Obviously, you reach legendary status when you get a bobblehead. What do you think about it?
I don't know. You know what? I've been eyeing that Lance Harder bobblehead, wondering our women's track and field coach. I mean, talk about legendary. I need to get a Lance Harder bobblehead in my office. That's for sure. But, it's kind of funny because they did a really good job with it. It looks a lot like me. It's kind of eerie. But it's fun. It's fun.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Porter.
I'll try to get one in. I'm so off right now, but just how much
We have a terrible connection, Porter. Can you do
in herself with that marathon 172, and you're talking about you believe. Yes. Sorry if I'm not hear me.
I'll have him text me and I'll ask the question.
I'll text you.
All right, cool. Eric.
First of all, I want a bobblehead myself. We got to make that work. But I'm curious, what did you learn about your team? You mentioned getting back to Razorback softball. This is a young group, face some adversity. What did you learn about this group going through that?
Well, I think we learned some good and some bad. We learned how to redirect some nerves. We learned how to redirect a little bit of pressure, self-induced pressure. And we also learned that we have a lot of fight, and we learned that we're a lot better when we're fighting together and not, fighting the other team and ourselves a little bit. And sometimes you have to go through those stretches to come out the other side. The one thing that we did consistently say is when we figure this out, we're going to be stronger for it. Because a lot of teams don't get to figure this out until it's too late. So I think this team sees that they have a lot of guts. I think sometimes you can lose sight of that for a second, but they have a lot of guts, and to kind of go through where we were and have to go to Alabama to work out of it is a really tough recipe, like tough challenge ahead. And I thought they handled it really, really well. While also being in a hostile environment and kind of feeling that for the first time. We play in front of big crowds here. Our fans aren't super hostile. They're really loyal to us and they just love the game. And so it was just kind of another layer that we got to work through, which is just another tool to put in our toolkit. So we are learning a lot of lessons, and I really like how they're keeping their enthusiasm working through it.
What can Monday night's performance for Shanice do for her moving forward? She mentioned in the interview in the postgame that she's never thrown that many pitches. Now she knows she can do it. Is that something that could pay off down the road? And then I'm wondering, was there ever any consideration of you taking her out in that game at any point?
No. Yes. I mean, yes, to the first part of the question. I do think it's something that's absolutely could benefit her moving forward. You just never know what kind of game we're going to be in this coming weekend or what game we're going to be in the postseason. So just knowing that she has that in the tank, not just the endurance, but the fight, the level of focus that it takes to throw that many, I wouldn't say stress. She doesn't get super stressed, but that many pressure pitches, when you're in a game like that, you don't feel like you can really let up. And so every pitch has so much riding on it. And the fact that she could just control her emotions through that while also having the endurance to go that long, I think it's huge. And I thought, I'll give credit to Montana Fouts too. I thought same thing. It was, I mean, just a lot of grit and that pushes you past that point of being tired. But yeah, I think it's gonna, it only gives her confidence to move forward, knowing that she can and knowing that, not knowing where the season's going to take us. She has that to draw back on. But what was the other part of the question? No, I'm rambling today. Sorry, guys.
Did you ever consider taking her out, or was there any conversation?
No, there wasn't. And not because anything other than she looked really good. And at that point, when you know it's going to be a 1-run game, when you're in a situation where it's going to probably happen pretty quick as the visiting team, there isn't a situation I didn't feel like she couldn't get out of. And so it was just going to be one of those, like, this is her game to win or lose, unfortunately, using it like that. But yeah, I don't think there's a situation as she proved Sunday and Monday, there's not a situation she couldn't get out of. And so I felt really, really confident with her.
And then my last question, you go from playing Alabama to now hosting Florida. I don't know if you agitated anybody in the conference offices or not, but obviously this Florida team is a very experienced team. What jumps out at you when you watch them?
Oh, well, this is SEC, right? It's not like you're just going to line them up. And so that's what you definitely get going A&M to Florida. I mean, to Alabama, to Florida, to, down the line. I think that they're swinging it really well. I mean, I watched the game the other day against Missouri, and you have a player with like Skylar Wallace who just decided they weren't going to lose that day. I mean, I don't know if you watched that game. She just decided they're not losing today. And so they have a really gritty mentality. Tim always has his teams really well prepared. So you know that you're going to get a really clean version of softball. They're not going to give you much that you don't earn. And they're kind of using all their pitchers while also swinging it really well. So we're going to have a good battle.
That covered the answer to Porter's question as well.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions for Coach Deifel?
I don't have a question, but I think it's Grace's birthday. If
it is. I was going to tell you guys that. You guys, what's so annoying? Most of you guys on the call, maybe not Ethan, will be annoyed by this. She's really bummed at how old she's getting, and she's 26. So
the dude who's about to be 60 says, please.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, to be 26 again. So this was G and my first fight. No, just kidding. It's her birthday. She's the best. 10th fight. Look at
happy birthday,
G Money.
Happy birthday. We learned in Clearwater she's still very athletic, Coach. She was running walking back and forth.
We don't let anyone hang around us that's not athletic. So that was the first test before we brought G on. No, just kidding. She's
2 miles,
the best.
sprint to field 13 or whatever it was. I got there 15 minutes before first pitch and wanted to pass out.
But you looked great.
I did not look
you
great.
looked great doing it.
Coach D said I looked stressed. She's like, just go. You're stressed.
Yeah, we don't like any stress balls around.
No.
I was there for that moment. You did look a little stressed, but you recovered.
I was a little stressed.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure the lineup was good.
Yeah.
We have to have the stats right. So
isn't she the best, guys? Okay. Happy birthday, G. Okay. 26.
26. Anybody else have any last questions for Coach Deifel?
Thanks.